let's begin with the endorsement. You're endorsing Rachel Notley's NDP. Why?
So this was hard for me. I take my purple very seriously. And you probably can't see in the shot that I'm wearing my cool purple sneakers today. I wear purple every day because it's red and blue. Because I really believe that we should be identified not by our political tribes, but by our humanity. And for me, that means not only firmly placing myself in the political center, but it also means being fluid in what I do. So these are all my caveats. I voted Conservative, I voted Liberal, I voted NDP, I voted Green in the past. But and usually I help people understand policy and platforms. But this is the one time, and I've never done it before, where I've really said, this is what I'm doing. And I think it's because this is such an important election for the future of this province that I love so much, but also that we have to really set boundaries on what is acceptable in political discourse. And I think what we've seen from Danielle Smith, someone I've known for 30 years, who I've always got along with.
Who you went to university with.
Has really been pushing the boundaries on, let's be blunt, on telling the truth, on helping people understand what they can expect from her. Do we believe today's Danielle or yesterday's Danielle or 6 months ago's Danielle or 10 years ago's Danielle? Because they're all saying different things. And so for me, fundamentally, this comes down to a question of trust. It comes down to a question of leadership. And I wish I could say that Albertans have two great choices in this election. But ultimately, even if the new Democratic government is not great, even if it's suboptimal, and I think their 15 to 19 government was okay, not great, it will certainly be better than the danger of what a Danielle Smith government could do. And that's really where I'm stuck.
What do you fear the danger is?
Well, on the policy side, she's chosen not to talk about a bunch of things during the election. But does she still want to take Alberta out of the Canada Pension Plan? Does she still want to kick the RCMP out of Alberta at great cost and create an Alberta provincial police? Will she move forward with plans on privatization of healthcare, even when studies have shown that the private surgical centers aren't really working that well? So there's a bunch of policy things. Then there's a bunch of things that she has said that she's never really walked back. She's just said, don't pay attention to that. You know, she often says, watch what I do, not what I say, which is a very strange thing for a politician to say. You should say, I say what I mean, and I mean what I say. But, you know, she's talked for many, many years about the need for more user fees in public health care. She's talked a lot about her feelings on public health if there's another pandemic. She's talked a lot about her feelings on public education and the need to move to more of a voucher system. These are very dangerous things. And even though they are not in her platform, there's a real concern that if she's given a victory, even a narrow one, that she will start moving forward on a bunch of things she hasn't talked about. And a lot of Conservatives are actually saying, and I've heard that UCP candidates are saying this at the door, don't worry about Danielle. Vote Conservative like you always have, and we'll get rid of her after the election. This will not happen. The moderates are mostly gone. If the polls are to be believed, her caucus will be almost entirely rural, installed by a group called Take Back Alberta. I always ask, Take Back Alberta from whom exactly? But they will be a radical group. So if you look south and think about Kevin McCarthy, the Speaker of the House, he is content to let his strings be pulled by Marjorie Taylor Greene. In that scenario, Danielle Smith is Marjorie Taylor Greene. And the moderates did nothing to get rid of Jason Kenney. They let the radical right do their dirty work for them. And there's no reason to believe they would do anything with Danielle. So if anything, she will be empowered to listen to some of the other voices in her ear and some of the more dangerous things that she has mused about over the years.
Okay, now you grew up in Calgary, and obviously this city is going to play an important role in the final result. Whichever party forms government, they're going to need the 26 ridings in Calgary. How much of your internal debate is reflected in the conversations that you've had with other people in this city?
So in Calgary, we're not used to being the pretty girl at the dance. Federally and provincially, Calgary is taken for granted. The Conservatives know that they have us already. The Liberals or the New Democrats know they have no upshot here. And so in federal election campaigns, until Justin Trudeau inexplicably kicked off his campaign in 2015 here, we were usually not visited by any of the leaders during the campaign. So this is strange that everyone's paying attention to Calgary, that they're trying to throw little gifts at us to see if that'll influence the vote. But Calgary is like any other city. Downtown Calgary is like downtown anywhere, and other parts of Calgary really reflect an urban view. So we're sitting here in Northeast Calgary. This is where I live. This is my neighborhood. It is incredibly ethnically diverse. In fact, sometimes I joke that it's not at all ethnically diverse because there's no white people here. But this entire election, and the reason it's so hard to call, is because the polls are meaningless. Because this is really about, as you say, those 26 seats in Calgary, but it's about every one of the 26 seats. So here in Northeast Calgary, it is generally agreed that the UCP has offended the South Asian community and other ethnic communities so badly that it's not replaceable, that these seats will all go NDP. Inner city Calgary, which is like downtown anywhere, people are thinking that will largely go NDP. There are 2 NDP seats there now, and they're running a solid slate of candidates there. So that means that South Calgary, south of the river, 13-ish seats, is going to decide the election. Some of those seats are Fortress Calgary. They've always been conservative. That's where Peter Lougheed came from. They will remain conservative. And some of them are very much at play. The challenge here is that for the NDP to win, they've got to run the table. They have to win every competitive seat. Because Danielle Smith is starting with an advantage in non-urban Alberta, she can afford to lose a lot of seats, and she only has to win a small handful of seats. So really what happens here is the debate comes down to, will Calgarians say, we want to be on the side of the winner and we think Danielle's going to win and we want to keep her moderate? Or will all those people who've always voted conservative for generations say, I just cannot abide this. This is not my party anymore. And I'm either going to stay home or I'm going to lend my vote to the NDP. Doesn't mean I'm a socialist now. Doesn't mean I'm NDP forever. But maybe I'll lend them my vote now because an NDP government will be less bad than a Danielle Smith government. And it all depends on what those people choose to do.